All right, all right, all right, all right. All right. Shalom, shalom, and shalom, Sister Deborah. Coming again with another message. Okay, this evening, you know what? I'm going to make sure I cover this message uh, uh, um, in a line of strictly spirit and truth. Okay, with the light in my right hand. I had someone to just come over around about 2 minutes till 7, and I couldn't just let him go because we had so much to cover and we had so much to talk about, and I wanted to make sure I took care of that. But this evening, I have a message, and I'm still going to rest on Yah's truth that is within. I'm still going to rest on there, y'all. I don't think, hey, y'all might have me all year on that alone. But I'm just so grateful this evening to come to you. And I know many probably would bypass being so they thought it was at 7. No, they didn't think it. It was supposed to be at 7. But like I said, I had someone to come by and we had to clear up some things. And I feel really good about it because it's something that was on me. I needed to get off anyway. And I'm grateful that the Father left that room for me to do just that. Again, I'm going to ride hard on Yah's truth that rests within. And I will say to you all, I've said time after time, it's over. And just imagine, it's over, and yet people have no idea, none whatsoever, of what they are missing out of. They have no idea at all what they are missing out of. But it's by Yah's grace and his mercy that would allow people to gain what he feels they need to know. You know, it's a saying that has been out for quite some time. What is for me is for me. You know, I don't think it's really quite like that. But I believe that somewhere along the line, if the Creator has chosen his and he has given them the portion in which he has measured to them, and the portion is information that holds mysteries and holds the truth of the whole matter, and yet the world has no idea of the truth itself. You know why? It sits in darkness without any light, you see. And I go back to thinking of what the Father said about Deborah bringing the light out of the darkness. And I'm like, at this point where I see what you're meaning now, Father, because you're giving me light to bring out of darkness. And most of it is things that people never, ever, 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 ever have heard. Hosea spoke about, I think it was chapter 6 or was it chapter 4, where it talks about my people, they perish due to lack of knowledge because they reject the ideal of them perishing without even knowing the knowledge of what? Truth. So y'all didn't know that, didn't you? Oh yeah, that's what he's talking about. He's still talking about that same truth that I spoke on the last 2 videos. Not knowing that that truth that was in them all the time. But they perish in their ungodliness and their unrighteousness. Not knowing. Because, he says, he's still in Hosea, they reject truth. I too shall reject not only them, but their children, 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 and children. Let me cover that. Let me see here if I can get there with that. I would like to really cover that because I'm sitting here speaking it and it's doing something to me. Just speaking it does something to me. It really is. It's doing something to me. Just speaking it. Okay? Yes, it's in Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6. He said, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Because they has reject knowledge, I will reject thee, and thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy Yah. Now, what is the law of thy Yah? Woo! See, people don't know. See, they thought it was about the law that is founded in this book. He's sitting here telling them that because thou hast forgotten the law of Yah, I will forget thy children. You see? One thing about the Father, he means what he say, and he say what he means. And that's what makes him who he is. The I am. I'm about what I say, Deborah, and I say what I'm about. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people are, Deborah, not might be. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast reject knowledge. I will also reject thee. See, what kind of knowledge is that, Father, you talking about? What kind of knowledge is that? Watch this here. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of Yah, of thy Yah. I will also forget thy children. You see? He's about what he's saying, he say what he's about. And he tagged in and called them at the beginning, my people, but they are, Deborah, destroyed. My people, but they are destroyed. My people, but they are destroyed. Don't mess with him. You're lacking the knowledge of what? The knowledge of truth. But he don't have no problem with it. That's what I like about him. He ain't got no problem with it. He said, because thou hast rejected the knowledge. The knowledge of what? Truth. Watch this here. I will also reject thee. See how important it is. See, we think the knowledge is the knowledge of this world. We think the knowledge is the knowledge of even this book itself. We think this book is the law. Y'all talking about a law from the inner man, not the law on the outer man. He's talking about the truth that rests on the inner man, not the fake truth on the outer man, which lots of people, 99.9, walk therein. The truth of the flesh has gotten people where they at today. And they really think they somewhere and have no idea. You're nowhere near the Father's home. Okay? So today, I want to hold firm to Yah's truth, and I'm going to rest therein on that. I want to talk about several things. And I believe when I get into travail of a woman and the travail of the earth and the travail that many have suffered throughout time since the beginning, what is actually going on? Because I'm going to tell you how I ain't got no sense. When I have something to ask the Father, I don't have no sense. I just go right in. Okay? And I'm going to give you a little something of how I do that, or how I have done that, even to today. And I'm not ashamed. But I want to say something that's more important. When I wake up in the early morning hour, I find myself saying, I need thee. I need thee, Yah. I need thee. I spoke to you all about me needing Yah in a way that the word needed, or need cannot be defined on the earth. It can't be, how would I say it? It don't hold a definition here on the earth. This type of need that I have for Yah, this type of need that I need of Yah. I find myself sleep and turning either to the left or the right. I'm sure you all have experienced that when you're not waking up, you're not trying to get up, you're just moving from left to the right. And guess what? All that I can say is, I need thee, Father. I need thee. I need thee. And I found myself doing that quite a bit. You know why? As I explained to you all, this type of need that I need, the Father had to tell me this morning when I got up and I was thinking, Father, I find myself really feeling this need for you. He said, Deborah, it's in the spirit, baby. You ain't letting the flesh stand a chance. It's in your spirit. Your spirit is crying out to me that it need me, even though it has me. He said, your spirit have me within it. And it cries out to me that it need me, even though it has me. It have me. I always wondered about that. Because that need cannot, like I say, I can't say when I need you to do this, I need this, Father, I need this, I need this, I need to do this, I need to do this. No. This ain't the type of need that I have within me. It's a need to need the Most High Yah. Even though I have him, my spirit cries out, I need thee. And now it's just something that I constantly say. Even throughout the day, I need thee. Am I asking the Father or saying to the Father, I need you because of this? Nope. It don't have nothing to do with this world. Okay? And that's what the Father wanted me to know. It's your spirit saying to my spirit that I need thee. That's a place I know many cannot enter therein, because they wouldn't know or have something in them that really see the need to voice that out in the spirit, to the spirit. Even though my flesh is saying it, he's saying it because your spirit is crying out for what it already have. Just showing the Father how much I need him. Knowing that he ain't gonna be that one that's there to pamper you in the flesh. But because you need him so much in the spirit, he's subject to pull up on the outside. Has the inside call on him for the need of just him himself. That's it. I just need him himself. I don't need him to do this, and do this. No, I just need you, Father, y'all. I just need you. Anything else can wait. I need you. If only somebody out there knew. And this is why it's so easy for me to say it's over. People don't know if they're going or coming, and they don't give a rat's behind if it's go one way or if it's another. They just for sure, they're going to get there. So today I'm going to talk also about travail. This is what came to me today when I got up. A woman in travail. And what the Father explained to me, it's another round of no longer saying drop the ball, truth. Travail is not what one thinking or was taught. Sister Deborah going to swing it in a way that I'm going to hit 3 balls, 3 home runs, 3. So I want you to go to Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16. In Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16 is where we're going to start. Because when the Roman Catholics and the Jesuits and the Jews decided to make a book that they could cause many to follow and think that it is the word of Yah. What make you think the Father trusts the world with his word? Does it make sense? What would make one think that the Father in the kingdom trusts the world with his word? That's why he give his word to his own. You see? And he let the world love its own. You see? So he have given his word to his own. And he let the world love its words. Many words were taken out of the scrolls. The scrolls are in the Ark of the Covenant over in Italy. They got it. They had it. They've been had it. And the strangest thing to me is this. How did Israel and Judah call themselves, we the true Israelites, we the true Jews, we Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and never do you hear them teach nor preach about the scrolls and the Ark of the Covenant over in Italy? That was for them. You see the deception? They got people thinking that they follow the protocol of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we the people, we the true Jews, we the this, we the this. You the true fools. And you've been that since you've been on the earth. No one ever questioned. Why are you saying that you are the true Jews and you're the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and you're the true Hebrew Israelite, and you're the people? But what did you lose something? Wait a minute, bro. Hey, king, leader, ruler, you missing something. Where's the Ark of the Covenant? Where's the scrolls? They so busy teaching you the words till they have forsaken the word. I love this here. I love the feel of it. Because it reminds me of what the Father told me the other day. He said, you always be on it. It might be the way you swing it, but every time you swinging it strictly based on the truth that really rests within. You must pull up the truth in parables, Deborah, and give it to them. You see? So here, I want to show you how we have not only I can't even call it drop the ball no more. It ain't even the ball. The truth is bigger than the ball, y'all. Come on now. So Sister Deborah can't use that little word ball. Truth. And me, myself, I'm like, but they take things in words. They took word. They took word off the scrolls, out of the scrolls, and off of it to be able to master the words. You see? The key to it is this. Don't ever think the world is the power. No, 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 no. Don't be big. The power gonna always be Yah. He always got the ram in the bush. You see, while they have mastered how to use the words to deceive the mass, the multitude, to where now 99.9 walks under that direction of being deceived. But when they took out certain things out of the scrolls, they thought that, okay, no, they ain't no thought, they did it successfully, that, okay, we can control the world with the other words we added. And they did. They did a good job. They did a good job doing evil and wicked. A good, evil, wicked job. But what they did not know is he that holds, who is the word, was going to teach his spirit and truth. It's going to show the light out of their words. You see? So let's go to Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16. I was trying to be sassy and smart mouth, but with humor. I'm dealing with the Father, you know. He got a lot of humor too, y'all. I wish you knew him. Because if you knew him, if you really know him, you know he deals with a lot of humor. So as I was told this morning when I got up, the topic was travail. I snuck one of mine in, y'all. I had to. And it made me do deep study. This travail was first mentioned in Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16. And it reads, unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception, and in sorrow thou shalt bring forth child. And thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. You got to see where the Roman Catholics, the Jesuits, and the Jews set that end part up so beautiful to right here today is still what men hold on to. They still hold on to this. When I had some issues, y'all, and I took them before the throne. Yeah, I took them before the throne because in me, I'm looking at this here, Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16. Until the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. And in sorrow thou shalt bring forth child, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. The sickness of that was not the word of the Father. Yah is not a Indian giver. He don't give you something and take it back. He about what he say, and he say what he's about, and he means what he say, and he means what he is about. Now here in Genesis, he gave me something, and I was just as lost as a loony bird. Because the first thing I said to him, when I got a question, this that's in here don't make any sense to me, Father. When I'm seeing this, I see greatly, greatly multiply thy sorrow. What did a female do to the kingdom to where greatly multiply thy sorrow? Now listen to this. And thy conception. Look at the word. Get your pen and piece of paper out, you all. So you all can get this here, because I know you're going to be lost with the cause and without. Here in Genesis chapter 3, verse 16, we know that something is being said to woman. And it's wanting you notice that it's not actually saying anything. Let's see here. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let me kind of show y'all what I mean, where man, this stuff is his hand in something. When you get to Genesis chapter 3 and verse 14, it says, and Yah said unto the serpent, and Yah said unto the serpent. Seems like it's actually telling you that the Father has some words to say to the serpent. But when you get to verse 16, it says, unto the woman he said. Why isn't it saying, Yah said unto the woman? That's the first, hey. That's the first thing I thought. I'm telling you, when I'm in the wilderness asking the Father questions, I ask all the good ones. Why is it not saying, if Yah said in verse 14, and Yah said unto the serpent, one thing you're going to grip is this. When you read in the study guide, a lot of times when it says Yah said, it is what Yah said. That's the part. That's some of the part they get from the scrolls. But when you don't hear Yah said, then you got to second think things. You can see where man creeped in. Okay. So in verse 16, it says, unto the woman, he said. Who is he? Since he said it, where you at? Who is he that said? Hold up. If he that said to the serpent, that which is unto the serpent, why is it not he that said to the woman? Why ain't he identified? Because he didn't say it. You see the difference? This is how you know also about what could possibly be in the scrolls when you're reading your study guide, and what subject to not be. Because there is so many things I've read, and it has been quoted as if the Father said, God said, Yah said. But when you look at it, where did he say that? And if he said it, if he can buckle up and he's called out to say something to the serpent, where is he in verse 16? Hear it out. Unto the woman he said, who said? I will greatly multiply thy sorrow. The reason why you don't see Yah said, because Yah didn't say it. Don't say nothing to me. Sister Deborah's so stuck on truth. Truth stuck on me. You ain't got nothing to say. Sit down. Okay? So here I'm looking at, even when he get to verse 17, it says, and Adam, he said. Why isn't it what Yah said? Because it's what man said. It doesn't make any sense. I didn't really want to go all the way down, Father Yah. I didn't want to go that far down, Father Yah. Oh, well, here we go. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow. Multiply her sorrow and thy conception. Wait a minute, hold up, Father. What's going on? Let him know, Deborah, what's going on. Greatly multiply her sorrow and thy conception. Wait a minute, conception is when you conceive, right? How can that be sorrow? Want me to tell you what I said to him? I said, well, if that's the case, Father, well, can I say something? Can I say something, Father? Yeah. This same curse you put on woman, did you put on every beast on the earth that birthed, that brings life? Because every animal travail. Or was it just for woman? Or was it just for woman? Or was it for all the dogs, cats, the lions, the tigers, the elephants? When they get ready to have a baby, they birth, travail, in pain. So it ain't. Wait, hold up. So when you curse woman, you cursed every female creature? Because they too travail. Woo! No, you didn't go there. Oh, yes, I did. I go there every time and every chance I get. So wait a minute, something's not right then. Something going on. When you look at verse 16 and you don't hear and you don't see where Yah said, and you sit here and you look at greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception, and in sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Wow, look how Satan got in there and reversed everything out of the order of the Father. He reversed everything out of the order of the Father. Right before our eyes. He reversed everything. Because my question was to the Father, well, wait a minute. So when you curse woman, did you curse every living beast on the earth that bring forth their babies, their little living babies? Because they too travail. They go through pain. They go through the labor pain. So who's the curse for? Was it for woman or every creature? Huh? No, Deborah, they got it wrong. Y'all, I'm finna show you how wrong they set it up. And how, and you know what? This is what you call how truth has been hidden, but in the opening. Hidden, but right in the opening. So all the eyes could see. Now we finna find out something that you did not know. Let's start back. Let's go back to David. We're going to go back to David in Psalms 51 and verse 5. Stay with me because you're going to learn why it's important to understand the truth that we actually hold within us. Or do we want the deception that's been taught to us on the outside? Or are we willing to wait a minute, hold up, y'all. There's some truth in us. We need to stop living the lie. Oh, watch this here. Let's go back to Paul, not to Paul. We're going to hear David break this thing down that's going on in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16. See, people, when you see overly exaggerated, he didn't say all that to Satan. say Satan, and watch this here. He didn't say unto Satan that, and I would, and you and your head would be greatly, your head will be greatly bruised. Why not say that to Satan? Your head will be greatly bruised. But when he said it to the woman, greatly multiply thy sorrow. Satan didn't even get that type of beating. Woo! No, you didn't go there. Yes, I did. Y'all been living a lie. And the lie been living you. Because truth was always there. Watch this here. When you see what he said to Satan, you drop down in verse 17, you see what is said to Adam. You do not hear it says, and Yah said, like it says, Yah said to the serpent. Then therefore it should have said, and Yah said to the woman, and Yah said to Adam. But you ain't gonna get it. Because man smeared it, and they didn't think Yah would send one of his servants like me to pick up the trash and throw it away. Now, when you get to verse 16, you see here where, y'all, we've been lied to. How can you explain this to the people? Let's go on to Psalms 51 and 5. Let's go into Psalms 51 and verse 5. Because David is going to say something. And I might need, no, I don't think I'm going to go to Paul, because Paul said it too. Paul said the same thing too. Paul said it too. Paul said, when I try to do right, it's just something it's something in me that causes, not in me, but he says something that I do wrong. He even explained it, but there's a law in me. Woo! In my inner man. That's the law of truth. But it's something on my outer man that when I don't want to do it, I end up doing it anyway. Let's see what David said. David said it in 51. Psalms 51. And David is about to clear up the lie. In David, Psalms 51 and verse 5. We've been here, but the Father brought me back. Because he told me about a woman in travail. A woman in travail. I want you to understand what that means, Deborah. So when we get to Psalms 51 and verse 5, it reads, behold, I was shaped in iniquity. What does it mean I was shaped in iniquity? Anybody in the life? When it says I was shaped in iniquity, what does that mean? Anybody in the live, if you happen to know, what does that mean when it says in verse 5, Psalms 51 and verse 5, David is saying, behold me, look, I was shaped in iniquity. What does that mean? Anybody? I was shaped in iniquity. I like this because David is really healing many people who are out here trying to make sense of things in the flesh and can't. Okay. David is making sense with it all. Okay. Brought forth from the wound on sin. Yes, it means sin, but he's saying that he was shaped in iniquity. So we got to take it all away where it's at. Shaped. Listen to what David said. David said in verse 5, and this is where you're gonna lose it. If you can't see it, it ain't meant for you. Okay? Because this truth clearly seen. It's just that seen. It says in verse 5, behold, I was shaped in iniquity. You know what that means? Shaped in iniquity mean flesh. Flesh is iniquity, y'all. Flesh is sin. He's letting you know. Listen to what he said. I was shaped in iniquity and in sin, and in sin did my mother conceive me. I was shaped in flesh and in sin, meaning a man and a woman coming together, sexual, is sin. Why? Because it's iniquity, it's flesh. Can't nothing good come out of this flesh outside of those who come out spiritual as the spiritual seed. That's all that comes out of the flesh is a spiritual seed. But David busted wide open here. David said in verse 5, behold, I was shaped in iniquity. He's talking about that flesh. And listen to this. And in sin did my mother conceived me. His mother conceiving him was sin, y'all. Flesh on flesh brought forth what? Flesh. Hello. Flesh on flesh brought forth what? Flesh, which is what? Iniquity and sin. See, people don't know that. 99.15 trillion don't understand flesh is nothing but iniquity and sin. Why do you think Solomon said everything under the sun is vanity and vexed with spirits? Because that's one thing darkness and the dark spirit is able to do is take over the flesh. Have it doing all kind of dark mess. Why? Because flesh is sin, flesh is iniquity. Why you think he gonna hold you blameless? Because he's capturing your spirit. Your flesh still acting a fool. David said here in verse 5, Psalms 51 and verse 5, and bust Genesis chapter 3, verse 16 out of the ballpark 3 times. And then y'all missed it. Went straight over your head. A lot of people think they're awakened. That's why I tell you, you're dead sleep, baby. Because no eyes cannot see this and not see it. He says in verse 5, behold, I was shaped in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive. Let's see if that word conceived is in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16. I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. Conception means conceive. Conception mean conceived. And David said, and in sin did my mother conceive me. Man having sex with a woman is sin. And children are brought forth through sin. Sin and iniquity is detached to flesh. Paul broke it down as well when he was trying to get you all to see that there's another law in his inner man, but this outer man is a hot mess. Even when I know to do right, but I find myself doing wrong. How did they teach this thing so potent? And even in this very day in which I sit here on this devil platform, people still blind. So what the Father was showing me is that David was 100% correct. And what it did is I already did the 3 balls. I hit a home run. Because what David is saying is what you're reading in verse 16, Genesis 3 and 16, it could not have been what Yah brought upon a woman as a curse. As if he was doing something toward her because she done something. You see? Because that same travail that a woman has is the same travail that every beast on the earth, female, that bring forth living creatures. They have to travail. So was it for Eve and woman, or was it for all living creatures on earth? It wasn't a punishment to woman. It was a lie. And they made it sound real good. Because what David is actually saying is what it was even in his time. So when this here saying he put it on woman, that had to been a lie, because all things that bring forth living travails. Plant a seed in the ground. Before it comes up, it sprouts out into the soil. It busts the dirt out to come up. So what is this being said in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16? That this right here was not Yah saying this. This is what man said. Because they didn't think someone would come along and say, wait a minute, if he's cursing woman, then every creature on the earth had to been cursed right along with her, because they travail during birth as well. David is saying he is born of the flesh. We all are born in the flesh. How about that? He's just showing you what the flesh is: sin and iniquity. It always was, y'all. It always was. Here in Genesis chapter 16, it's actually said, and shall bring forth children, and their desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over. How did so much go up against woman when man had nothing to go up against? And this protocol is not even in effect, nowhere near 2026, what is said to man. What happened where it was said that, and Yah said to the serpent, why is it it's not said? And Yah said to the woman, since he's making a big curse on her, or even a curse on Adam. And Yah said to Adam, see, the earth itself bring forth. Genesis chapter 3 and 16. All of this great multiplying your sorrow and your conception and the sorrow that thou shalt bring forth, child, is not the sorrow that we're thinking. It's not just the sorrow of what y'all think as far as pain, because everything that brings forth living has to go through that same protocol. So it wasn't just woman. So what is going on, Deborah? It was a lie. It's impossible Not that it is, it ain't like it can't be, but when the Father created woman and he formed her and created her, I like the idea that he himself knows that a 7-pound baby in a body has nothing to do with a curse. It has something to do with creation. You see? Where the problem come in is detached to sin and iniquity. Anything that has to do with the flesh is connected to sin and iniquity. That's what David is trying to explain to us, that even his mother conceiving him in sin. So is this the same as thy sorrow and thy conception? Is that the same thing David is saying? David is actually saying sin. Over here, it's not telling you sin. It's putting a curse on woman. It's actually putting a curse on woman. And that's the way they have gotten people to believe it. It is sin and it is iniquity. Then you get down here to Adam. It's telling him what he's going to eat from trees, from the ground, until he what? Return back to the ground. But don't women work and do the same thing? Ah, yeah, right. We're along the line that the Father detached everything from them, cursed her heavily for pain and sorrow, doing a great multitude, will greatly multiply thy sorrow. Well, why do you have to multiply her sorrow? Y'all, it don't make sense. Why do you have to multiply her sorrow to bring forth a sperm of a man, which is sin, which is iniquity? Could not it be like David said? It's the sin. It's the iniquity. That's really the sorrow. The way they got it here is that she's going through birth pain, because man was so ignorant when they added that like that. Their whole thing was trying to show the world that the punishment that Yah had for woman. And they did an excellent job. Not letting you know that the sin itself, it wasn't that she her conception was going to be sorrow. It's just bringing flesh to flesh, bringing forth flesh is flesh. That's sorrow in itself. I know we look at it and we took this flesh and we made this flesh everything. And Yah is saying it, and they forsake the fact that flesh is sin. Flesh is iniquity. Flesh is your worst enemy. So what good can come out of flesh? So that leads me to understand that verse 16 of Genesis chapter 3, verse 16 was set up from the floor, and 17 from man. Those words were not in the scrolls. Those were words of Roman Catholics, Jesuits, and the fake Jews. And as time go on, and I'm going to say this to you all, as very little time You're going to hear someone else teaching the same thing, and maybe you might get it, but it don't matter if you do or not. He said, my people, they perish. They're lacking something, Deborah. Knowledge. Knowledge of what? Truth. Because it's impossible for this to be in Yah'S the way they got it right here. Then David pulled up and called conception sin. Come on now. What did David say in verse 5? Behold, that means look, I was shaped in iniquity. Shape in iniquity, flesh. Okay? And in sin, my mother conceived me. In sin, my mother conceived me. A lot of people thinking that everything they do in the flesh is pleasing to Yah. Everything they do in the flesh, they think is pleasing to Yah. Even when it's pleasing to their flesh. How can that be? You think everything you do in the flesh pleases Yah. And he told you, you better not bring your nasty tail in the flesh to me to try to worship me. But yet you want to say, no, I got this. I know this. All in your flesh. In a man's eyes, seem it clean. In his own eyes. That's meaning in his own flesh. He think it's clean. Because that's what they done taught y'all, the lie. That your flesh is so clean. And then David been saying it all this time. And Paul done said it 3 or 4 times. And then, wait a minute, hold up. Paul, they making you a lie today. Because that's how heavy the lie of darkness has overcome and overshadowed people. So even what David is saying right here in verse 5. You turn over here to Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16. All of that multiplying sorrow and thy conception and sorrow thy bring forth a child. You're bringing forth sin. So that alone calls for travail. It's still everything connected to your flesh. She's travailing in the flesh. She's not travailing in the spirit. She's only travailing because of flesh. That's why Yah didn't put no cap on here. Somebody didn't had enough babies could tell you. You just can't have a baby and not feel something. You see? It never was that you're going to have a baby and not feel anything. And not travail. But by a men of wicked and evil. That's why you know verse 16 is of them. They couldn't even say it right. Listen to it. Listen to this. I will greatly multiply thy sorrow. I will greatly multiply thy sorrow. Why are you saying that? Watch this here. And it says, and thy conception. Your conception. Getting pregnant is not normally sorrow, but it is sorrow. If you understood what David was saying. But the way man put it here, he's so dumb, he put conception. I will multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. And in sorrow thou shalt bring forth a child. We know you bring forth a child. That there alone is a labor. That's the travail. But thy conception, and greatly multiply your sorrow. You putting sorrow on a woman. All this has to do with, all this you putting on her is to bring a seed of a man out of her womb. That does not even make any sense. I believe we were supposed to travail, bringing forth a child. But what the women don't understand, he said, what he had most likely is letting you know a child is born of a few days and full of trouble. When you done had children, I mean, really, and I don't mean people who call themselves mothers and fathers. Honey, baby, let me tell you something. It takes something to be a real mother. It takes something to be a real father. Just because you have a child and you had a child and you got children, to be a real one, oh, baby, it's a price you pay. And people thinking they done did it. You ain't been nowhere. You ain't done nothing. Because the greatest sorrow is having to live with those personalities as long as they live. That's sorrow in itself. That's greater sorrow than travailing. Because the labor pains come and they go, and it's over. But it's not over because the lifelong sorrow that comes with it comes with what? The flesh. If you think that you don't need the Most High Yah, you about right where you at. Because this is a sign right here in how flesh is such a mess. It's nothing about it that the Father wants us to think that it's all good. David told it. Paul said it about 3 times. Trying to figure out, well, wait a minute, I know that this is wrong and I still find myself doing it. But wait a minute, there's a law on the inner man. I know that's right, Paul. I know that's right. And that's what we forsaken. The truth. That rests on the inner man of who we are. That's why this world is in the mess it's in today. It's because we took everything they said in these books and we multiplied it in our hearts and our minds. We multiplied it in our flesh, in our understanding, in our wisdom, in our knowledge. We multiplied it in our feelings, in our emotions, our personal opinion, in the way we interpretate the Father himself. We sick. So learning Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16, this is sorrow due to flesh, which is sin, which is iniquity. This is not Yah cursing woman way and beyond the serpent and man. That was their only way to steal her identity. And look at today. Her identity has been fully ripped off the earth. Why would y'all make her one way at the beginning and strip her from what he told man not to do, but yet strip her from everything that he gave her dominion over in the beginning? That's not how he runs. That's not how the Father moved, y'all. But if that's the way you moved in your understanding and in your wisdom and your knowledge and behind all these other people that you feed after and you run behind, I salute you in it. Go right ahead. I hope it's going to do you some good in the day that we're in. Okay, now let's go to Job. Let's see what Job says. In the book of Job, chapter 14 and verse 4. In the book of Job, chapter 14 and verse 4, In the book of Job, chapter 14 and verse 4, Job is saying, who can bring a clean thing out of a unclean? Who can bring a clean thing out of a unclean? Not one. What do Job mean? Or do you know? Or do you understand? Job said, who can bring a clean thing out of a unclean? Not one. Not Job, not me, and nor can you bring a clean thing out of a unclean. You can't. You can't. Exactly. Flesh, bring forth flesh is unclean. That's what David was talking about. My mother, I was shaped in uncleanness. My mother conceived me in uncleanness. What part of that y'all don't understand? It's because man has switched everything in order to be able to deceive the world, which they finally got an opportunity to assist Satan to meet his obligation that heavens ordered him to deceive the whole world. It was done. Because if truth is not even taught being in people in this day and time, how do you think they're going to find their way home? Or how do you know how would they be able to look? And the Father sitting here telling you he put it in them. Well, hold up, then that's showing you. He ain't worried about you getting it. Or you coming home, you finding your way. He ain't worried about it. He already know if you will or if you will not. Now, if you take what Job said, who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? A clean thing out of an unclean. David said, my mother conceived me in sin. I was shaped in iniquity. See how he's sitting here telling y'all? Flesh on flesh. We got to stick. And that's what's wrong. I ain't gonna say that's the only thing wrong, along with everything else. We keep telling our flesh. We keep lying to our flesh. We keep putting our flesh up on high. Whoa, but if you only know, that's what the end is about. Bringing that flesh to the degree of where it was really created for. He's going to destroy your tail. You see, here Job is actually letting you know that you can't bring a clean thing out of an unclean thing. You can't, like for instance, me being who I am out of my mother, I don't give a rat's behind who I am. I'm an unclean flesh coming out of an unclean flesh. Hello, and I'm still flesh. Praise the Most High for his spirit in me and my spirit in him. And that's what Paul was saying. But there's a what he say? And there's a law on the inward. That's what makes Sister Deborah who she is. So I can say the same thing David and him is saying, and Paul. I can correct what they said in Genesis. Because that sorrow shouldn't have never been applied and said the way that it was said. Because it was for sin, it should have been just sin. Not greatly sorrow and greatly multiply and greatly conception. You made yourself greatly a fool in the eyes of the light. And they sit up on this devil platform thinking they saved. They full of the Holy Spirit. They don't know they left nor they right. That's how blind people are. Because the truth can be looking them dead in their face. as it is in them, and they still can't see it nor can discern it within. Okay, so now Job just said the same thing. How can you bring a clean thing out of an unclean? That means, how can Sister Deborah be a clean thing coming out of my mother? I'm still unclean. I'm still flesh. That's why you need the Ruach living in you, not on the outside like y'all want to claim him. See, that's what's wrong with people. They want to claim him only on the outside. They don't understand he don't deal with the outside. That's why you're unclean. That's what that unclean is about. Now, Job just said it as well. Let's see what they say in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 3. In the book of Ephesians, chapter 2, in verse 3. Verse 3. Among whom also verse 3. Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 3. Among whom also we all had our conversation in time past, in the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desire of the flesh and the mind, and whereby nature, the children of wrath, even as others. By nature, y'all, we are the children of the wrath. Okay? By nature. Can you say that? I'm going to try to read that again. If y'all don't, I know you probably missed it. Going right back, letting you know who your flesh is. But people want to walk around here like their flesh is full of something, or their flesh is holy than thou, or their flesh is redeemed, or their flesh is saved, or I know I got my ticket, and I know I'm this. And I just learned something that I never knew today. And I'm like, I can't wait to teach on that. Because, hey, people don't know it. But here, listen to what Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 3 says. Among whom also we all, you hear what it said? We all had our conversation in times past in the lusts of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of our flesh and the mind, and were by nature the children of the wrath, even as others. It's actually letting you know that's what you are in the flesh, whether you like it or not. And not just you, me too. And I don't have no shame. Because something greater in me that this flesh cannot defeat. So it too has to sit down. So here in Ephesians said the same thing. It's letting us know where our flesh stands. But do you think these people on this earth think like that? You think people in the church, you think people all over this world really think they flesh is wicked and evil? He said, in a man's eyes, it's clean. He talking about his flesh. In his own eyes, he see himself clean. If that broken, see the spirits on him. The Father said, I measure the spirits. Why, you thinking you clean on the outside? I ain't looking at that. Because I don't deal with the flesh. The flesh is against me. And I'm against the flesh. So why would I let you worship me in your flesh? People don't even know when they pray, you got to cross that barrier. I'm saying if you get down there and you start praying every night. You pray over your food. You pray it. You pray it. He ain't hearing a word you say. He ain't hearing your flesh. He don't care what you on your knees. He don't care what you down there doing. He don't hear a word you say. You know why? You got to enter through his door, through the spirit. How can you enter in when you don't know? Well, that's just too bad. It ain't meant for you too. See, we want to make him like unto a flesh of a man. And if he don't serve, we don't, if he don't accept us serving him in our flesh, we don't know how to serve him at all, and we could care less. This is why the world is in such evil and wicked. If he don't come serve us, and he don't come and look after us, and he don't be on our side the way we are, when hey, I don't need him. You know what? Even though you don't say it, you say it. Because that's how ugly your flesh is. Your flesh is just that ugly. It's bleak. It's all that answer. But it don't know how ugly it is in reality of nature. And it says here in Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 3, among whom also we all have our conversation in time past in the lusts of our flesh, fulfilling the desire of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. By nature. By nature. Just letting you know, by flesh. I know you couldn't see through that because you place yourself on such a high pedestal. You think, hey, I'm way up there with Yah. Me and him is just that cool. I know I'm saved. That's why people thinking that where they're at, they thinking he's going to have to come down to their level, bow down to them. I mean, you know, people, let me tell you, you can say what you want, think what you want, but what this sister is speaking is truth. People think the Father going to bow down to them. And if he don't, then it's like, hey, you go my way or no way. Because, I know I got it, And it's that flesh keep whirring up. Now, let's go to the Gospel of John. To the Gospel of John, chapter 3. In the Gospel of John, chapter 3, never was it. So all that sorrow they was telling you and cursing the woman with, guess what? That was sorrow of sin itself. Sin is sorrowful. But all this multiplying her sorrow, sit down. You didn't multiply her sorrow by lying on the Most High God. Sin was turned and identified in the flesh, and it was identified as iniquity and sin in the flesh. So why was all this done to her in her flesh? All this great multiplied sorrow, and in birth you shall conceive. I mean, in sorrow you can't conceive. David told you conceiving was sin anyway. It was all sin. See, they got away with telling you all that in Genesis 16 toward Eve, and it was all a lie. Even to the point where her husband gonna rule over you, and your desire will be to him. All of it was a lie. Because what do Satan do? Is Father Yah said to us, y'all, I want y'all to walk east. The 99.1 billion will walk west. If the Father says the Son is a blessing, we would 99.15 trillion would say the Son is dangerous. Everything the Father says, they have turned it and flipped it, and y'all have ate from their plate and continuing daily, eating from their lives, while the truth is in them. You see how easy it is to judge? He already got it measured because he gave you everything that you needed. He already know how you gonna come back the way you left, even with truth. He knew it all the time. That's deep for me. But it makes sense to me why he keeps saying, get in your lane. This stuff need be, baby. This is just who these people are. I done son myself. I done son the Son of Man to tell them about me. I done son everything to these people. They still ain't get it, Deborah. Baby, it's over. And if you think about all the things he's been saying to me, it all makes sense now. And not just so much as now, but it feels good now. Because now you it's like you complete with something. You have something that complete something that you can run on with now. You see? So here in the Gospel of John, chapter 3 and verse 6. So all that over in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16, the Father wants you to know all that is lies. He did not put that curse on her. It was called sin and iniquity. When a woman was going to have a baby, it would have been impossible for her to bring forth a child without any pain. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Or without travailing. Why? She bringing forth more sin. See, y'all didn't know that, didn't you? So you think the Father is going to make it easy? So even though he knows she's bringing, all she's doing is bringing forth sin. That's what David then was telling y'all. That's what Paul was saying. That's what we just read in Job. Who can bring a clean thing out of, he didn't say, who can bring a clean thing out of that which is not clean? Meaning, woman, you having a baby don't mean you clean. Please, sit down. And women don't even understand. Like I told my son, I said, when she get ready, your wife get ready to have her baby, go in there with her, so you can see what your mama put up with, having all of these children. And when I said, he said, I ain't going to his. He just said, I wanted to make sure he know it's important for you too, so you can see what really takes place. And I said, the sad part is about it, the severity of it is, y'all, it's men would never, ever have told women, even to today, women, elderly women, and women of age, middle age, they're so ignorant. They would never be able to tell the women, even their daughters and their granddaughters, how having a child is one of the deadliest situation to be in. That's why I know that I know. There's no way you're going to have a baby without no pain. Yeah, after it's over, they can't seem to tell you the truth about anything that had taken place. But the truth be told, that's a lie. That's why do you think they came up with an epidural? That's to take away the pain. But before they take away your pain, you got to feel some pain. So don't let nobody tell you. A lot of them call it cramping. Some of them call it a heavy cramping. Oh, my back. It's always something. You ain't going to escape some kind of pain. That was a part of child bringing forth children. Period. Because every animal on the face of the earth travails. You see? So who made it so bad for a woman? Man. They lying tales. They even, where you know that they switched it is, they said, since we're going to, if we still in her identity, we got to make it look like she did something to lose her identity. And then we got to make it look like the creator then really cursed her because she did that. Then if that's the case, why didn't the Messiah, why didn't the Most High Yah send another female with Yeshua, the Son of Man? Yeah, right. You want to do it right? Pull it up right. That shows y'all how sick y'all are. When y'all sit and watch and see people lying and nobody's willing to stand up and preach and teach the truth. If you go visiting people on YouTube, Facebook, and they lying, put a message in there, you're lying. Don't stand there and entertain them and watch them and knowing that they're lying. But if you don't know they're lying, then they ain't lying, because you and them is on the same team. So you about right. So all that mess he was saying, and then the father sit here and showed me right here in Genesis. He said, Deborah, see right here in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16. And your desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over you. What do that take away from? Genesis chapter 1. It make it no effect. It takes it and void it out. That you both have dominion over the earth, mean power over the earth. He called them them. He didn't have a 2 men, 3 men, 4 men. He wasn't talking to Adam's sperms. He was talking about him and her. He said, now what they did is they erased that. That's why nobody thought to go back and do the search, because this is the way males have done it. And the reason why he couldn't send Eve, because Eve ain't the one that disobeyed him. She never had the order. Matter of fact, she never did what they said she did. It was him all the time, before she was even created. It was Adam that had been in that garden all the time, that had already sinned, had already followed. But what happened when Eve come on the scene, he took her in that same direction that he had sinned in. So now both of them would have sinned. And that's when the father pulled up. But he didn't look for her, did he? He still looked for the one he knew that did it. And then man put in there, woman did it. And that's where y'all at today. All over the world, look what these men are doing to these young girls and these women. All over the world. All over the world. They done it to women for so long, they decided to take something else, the opposite of creation, which is little boys. And nobody see nothing going on. Everybody having a wang dang doodle time with Epstein, not looking at how many people and how many children died. How many people how many kids they done killed. How many kids they took and raped. Ain't nobody looking at that. All they looking at, Epstein, who's in on it? When you finish saying who's in on it, then what? It's almost over. You see, it's finna cease now. It was just a moment for the flesh to get some thunder. It's the moment, just the flesh to get some thunder. Exactly what it said in the Gospel of John. Was that John chapter? Let me see if that's John chapter 3 and 6. Let me see if that's what that was. No, that was something else. No, that was something else. So that wasn't John. So it had to be in Ephesians then, chapter 2 and verse 3. The lust of the flesh. All of this sick mess, y'all. Even if you think you wasn't the one that did it, y'all getting on you. It's on you. It's the blood is already on you because you're entertaining. No one looking at the wicked and evil and the pain and the death and the killing and the babies. They just want some more Epstein information. For what? So they can get some likes and subscribers on their YouTube. Not to change. You all, do you know people don't want to change the evil in the darkness? They're loving it too much. They're in love with it. They want more people to be just in love with it as they are. That's why the system constantly put negative things before you. Every time they trying to do something behind the scene, they'll throw something out to the world, and the world start eating it up and start just eating it like they get eating a 4-meal deal. All these YouTubers start making videos on it, and woo, they just having a good time. They getting likes and subscribers. They get woo, they having a good time in sin. That's what he was talking about. the lust, the sin itself. So how can any good thing come out of that nasty sin, which is flesh? You can't bring nothing good out of flesh, y'all. There's no such way. Now, here in the Gospel of John, chapter 3 and verse 6, it reads, that which is born of the flesh is flesh. That which is born of the spirit is spirit. That's letting you know you sure better be glad that y'all had already separated. Because he's letting you know, I done already did the separation into the kingdom, y'all. So what's born on the earth, you know what he's talking about? That which is born, verse 6, the Gospel of John, chapter 3 and verse 6, that which is born of the flesh is, wait a minute, that which is born of the flesh is flesh. That which is born of the spirit, and which, look, wait a minute, and that which is born of spirit is spirit. You see that lowercase spirit? Do you see that uppercase spirit? He's letting you know, I got this spirit because it was born of me. It was born of the spirit. I sealed that bad boy with me. So its spirit has my spirit. It's coming back home. But you got those that's got my breath. They got their own spirit, but their spirit comes down to follow their flesh and their flesh only. So that's why 99.9 is going through the broad gate. And no one can find a way to the other way. Now, somewhere in there, I'm waiting for the Father to give me that. Those who have not found the way to the narrow gate, I don't know if it's another set of individual that he's taking outside of those who can't find the way. I don't know. But I believe that he's actually identifying the book of the Lamb and the book of the lake of fire. He's just identifying exactly what's what, so everybody know where they're going. To tell the truth, he says, I don't care if they think they know it, they feel they know, they think they know it, whatever. They already written where they're going, whether they know or not. So see how it is having truth. It don't matter if you what you do with it, because he got too many verses telling you it's in you. And if it's already in you, then that means you still doomed. So see how people getting away. See how people believe in all these different religions and believe, hey, I'm saved and I got the Holy Spirit. Look at the Christians. Been the shield for the Roman Catholic. Do you know what that means? The highest level of evil and darkness on the earth. The Christians has been the shield for it. So what do that say about the Christian? You see? And when we say Christians, this is people under this umbrella called Christian. But not only are they under that umbrella called Christian, they under that umbrella called Satan. His whole domain, his whole team. Roman Catholic, Jesuits, Jews, Muslim, all of them caught in it. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. For a mighty long time, and I'm going to tell you pretty much since I was a teenager, I never locked nobody. I never tell nobody what religion. I am not in a religion. And people used to ask me, what church do you go? You go somewhere. Who is your pastor? I like to go because you know a lot. No, you don't want to go where I'm at. Because where I'm at, you got to be drawn there. It ain't something you just get up, and that's the mindset of people. They think that they can just enter in anywhere, and they there. Hold up. Go ahead on. So here in the last is Titus. In the book of Titus, chapter 3, in the book of Titus, chapter 3 in verse 3. So I'm so grateful to live, to know that that wasn't, and I can sit here and say to y'all, I'm grateful to know that. But in me was what I already knew. I'm just so grateful how y'all it has taken this time to just break that thing down in me, so I know that now when I speak to people, I can actually just break it all the way down to them. And if you can't get it, it's okay. Everything is not for everybody. Okay? That's the way heaven set it up. And it ain't nobody down here fault. Heaven set it up that way because it knows what it's dealing with. You see? The earth don't know what it's dealing with, but heaven for sure. No. Okay? So that's why I say everybody go and play with themselves. You might as well take on this time and just, hey, just like Solomon said, enjoy yourself. And what he mean in the flesh, because that's about what you got coming. What you got on this side. Okay. Titus chapter 3 and verse 3. I like to start there first. In Titus chapter 3 and verse 3. For we ourselves also were sometime foolish, disobedient, deceived, served divers lusts and pleasures, living in malice and envy, hateful, hating one another. Okay, verse 4. But after that, the kindness and the giving of Yah, our salvation toward man appear, meaning Yeshua, Hamashiach. Okay, verse 5. Not by works or righteousness which we have done, but according to his mercy, he saved us by the washing of generations and renewing of the Holy Spirit. Okay? What all that is saying is Yah is bypassing all the things we do in the flesh. It's not nothing we're doing in the flesh going to get us in with the Father. And the Father ain't going to get in with you if you're thinking that it's all the things you can do in the flesh that's going to get you in with him. No. He says, by the washing of the generation, no, verse 5, not by works of righteousness, which we have done, but according to his mercy, he saved us. He saved us by the washing of regeneration and renewing of the Holy Spirit. Someone said, don't say the Holy Ghost, but the Holy Spirit. Okay. So even that alone lets you know it ain't what we are in the flesh that Yah has renewed us, renewing us, and he has washed us. It ain't got nothing to do with what we think we're doing in the flesh. Because what let me explain what that said. I don't know if you all know that people think no matter what religion they're in, and it's in 100% of individuals in any type of religion, whether it's Buddha, Muslim, Jehovah's Witness, Catholic, Baptist, Masons, or whatever them call them, the Moors, Hindu, all these here, no matter what religion they're in, that's all in the flesh. Yah has chosen his through his own spirit, through his own renewing and washing, regeneration. That's what the Holy Spirit comes to do. You see, that's the whole idea of understanding we need the Holy Spirit, because that's what it comes to do. But if that one, that whole same Holy Spirit he's talking about, is not in you, he wants you to understand, I don't want to use what you do in the flesh. I want you to recognize it's got to be the Holy Spirit in you. That's what he's talking about. See, a lot of people would take it, okay, see, it ain't your works, it ain't your righteousness. No. But it is his righteousness that's in you. It is his work that he works through you. So he just wanting us to know, not your nasty flesh. It's what I am in you that works out of you. In that same way, this is the reason why people don't know who the Son of Man is and who the Son of Yah is. It's because they keep making it about the flesh, being having all the thunder when it was the spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, which had the word, the Ruach, and the power that came down in the flesh of the Son of Man. You see? That's how he was able to complete everything he done, y'all. Without that, he could not have done it. And it gives you a parable on that. It tells you about how many times he sent his servant and they killed him. Every time he sent somebody out, he said, surely if I send my son, you know. But his whole idea was showing you that he was coming. I'm coming in the flesh. Yeah, I'm going to step in the flesh. Yeshua couldn't have done it. Going back to flesh. But what Yeshua did, look what it took. The Son of Man to be in him, the Son of Yah. The power, the word, and the spirit. So what makes you think you can do it without that? Woo! What makes you think if Yeshua couldn't do it, what makes you think you can? They never knew that the Yeshua could not have done it by himself. That's why the Ruach, the Holy Spirit, the word, and the power was with him, called Christ, Hamashiach. That was Yah with us in the flesh of the Son of Man. Why? Anybody in the live chat? Why was it done that way? Why? Why did we need, why was Yeshua here? Why did he come? Yeshua came identical to the way Adam, being a man, born of a woman, meaning when it says born of a woman, you know what that means? Flesh. But something came down in that flesh with him. That was Christ, Hamashiach. So what makes you think that your flesh down here don't need that same spirit that the Son of Man needs? You don't need. Do you know most all of religions on the face of the earth, they just think that they are there without what the Son of Man had. Son of Man couldn't have done it himself. He needed the Son of Yah. He couldn't have done it. Everyone that Yah sent down, they took out. He said, let me get on down there. I'm going to be with y'all. So the Son of Man, he did an excellent job with even with the help of the Son of Yah. Because he came down to show us. Could he show us anything if he just came himself? No, he couldn't. He couldn't. Because when he came down, he had the word. He couldn't have told us the word if he didn't have the word in him. Could he have showed us the power? No, he could not. He couldn't have showed the power of the miracle signs and wonders if he didn't have all power given to him from the Father. What about the Spirit? The Ruach of the Father in him. The Son, the only begotten Son of the Father, which was the Father, that is the Father. It told us 3 or 4 times. That's the one who had risen the Son of Man. And we still stand around, won't give him that thunder. They still teaching and preaching that it's the Son that did it all. And the Son could really tell y'all need to sit y'all dumb tails down. All that I did, and I told y'all it was of my Father. And he still can't get recognition today. He couldn't get it yesterday, and he can't get it today. That's how sick everybody is. But that's okay. They can be sick. Because anytime you got truth in you and you still sick, you sicker than sick. How about that? How about that? If you got truth in you and you still sick, you sicker than sick. That's how sick you are. So what did he do? He couldn't have done nothing. But the Father needed him to complete what Adam couldn't do. But he knew he couldn't complete it without him being in him. Why is that? Because when Adam came down, Adam had everything perfect. Sin wasn't even on the scene. Yeshua came down, born in the sin. The earth, the sin. Born into it. Yeshua. Adam came down perfect, no sin. See, nobody never think about that. People don't even focus on stuff like that. You see the two difference? Adam came down, no sin. Everything was perfect. No sin. And he chose it happily, quick, and easy. Yeshua came down, born into sin. Woo! And showed you, see, I'm born in it. And here I am. Here I am. That's why the Son of Yah came down with him as Emmanuel, Yah with us. Because it wasn't that he wanted Yeshua to represent what Adam couldn't hold. He wanted to just show us he would always be there for us to uphold what is right. That's all. He gave us a look at Yeshua walking and didn't do any sin, wickedness, evil. So he say, I just want to show you when I'm with you, I'm greater in you than anything that's on the outside of you. The same as I was for him, I want to be for you. But 99.15 trillion have no idea that he did not. He couldn't have done it without the Son of Yah. What's wrong with that? Nothing. What's perfect about it is that's the same opportunity that he offered you. We too could have that same that Yeshua had in him. We too could have that in us. But no, we already selected for our eternal. And we walking this day in it. Calling it light when it's strictly darkness. That's what's deep. Calling it what it ain't. Just to be on the earth, to walk in the deception and the lie. People are more content in just portraying it on the earth. They don't care about what comes after this old life or this old living. They just worried about living it, the lie. I'm so grateful that was what he put on my heart. And another thing I can truly say, because I thought about it this morning, I said, Father, the way you show me, I sure can't teach it like you give it to me. But the way he give it to me and he began to just talk to me and tell me this, and it feels so good. And I'll be saying, oh, I can't wait to write this down. And I just can't seem to give it to you like he gave it to me. But that's why I truly thank him for how he take out that time and he share it. And another thing, I'm excited to hear from him. I am. I'm excited to hear what he has to say and what he has to teach me, because he knew, I think I was 16 years old. I think I was 16 when I was battling with the fact that, what is this you telling woman? How's you putting this on her? All this sorrow. See, y'all thinking I'm just bringing it to you today. Oh, no, I'm baby. Sister girl been putting all this stuff before the Father when I was a young teenager. That's why I say I'm grateful and I'm thankful to be able to live, to know and how and all these questions I used to ask when I was a teenager and a young person. Now here it is, you just pouring it out, just show. And what's good about it is it brings me back to where I always was. I wasn't lost. I wasn't out here, didn't know what was going on, what was what, you know. My son asked me, he said, he was on his way from work, and I told him, uh, uh, oh, my sister had said not email me, she on Facebook telling me what happened to her invitation to my son's baby shower. When I'm not doing the baby shower, his mother-in-law is doing it. So I said to her, I'm not doing it, but she want me to check with my son. So I checked with my son, and I told him they ain't got their invitation, and I didn't know they had sent it out. He said, yeah, they had sent it out, but she said she didn't get hers, and then all my other sisters didn't get theirs, and then all my nieces and nephews didn't get theirs, and I'm like, okay. And my son said, but Mama, did you get yours? I said, I'm not looking for Nan because I ain't going. I don't play that. I don't care what nobody say, nobody think. You don't send me no invitation, I won't be going. I'm not into this. Here it is. I give you 40 phone numbers, and you probably got 100, and you slinging this thing on everybody's phone. I don't go for that. Y'all, it's okay for these young people to do stuff like that, but we too old for that. We too old for trying to keep up with these young people the way they do everything. You see, we need to stop that. It's too late. I know it's over. So I was telling him, next thing I know, that was like a couple hours, and then he come flying over here, and he come in the house, and he just looking at me eye to eye. Now, what was this you saying? And I broke it all down to him and told him that I'm non-tolerant, and you know that I am. When it come down to me, things have to be a little bit decent. You know, it don't be all over the place. And I told him that when we gave you your gender reveal, they messed the whole thing up. You know, her mother messed the whole thing up, y'all. And I was like, and I didn't appreciate that. And somewhere she thought I did the wedding. Guess what, y'all? I didn't have not one part in it, but to walk down the aisle. You know, just stupid stuff. And I was telling them I don't play that. Now, if I didn't show, now at least y'all listen to this. If I didn't show up at that baby shower, that will be the talk of the town right there. Because they know I'm non-tolerant. And if I don't show up, what's going on? Something didn't happen. Wait a minute, y'all. Whoa, I didn't commit. I'm in penitentiary right now if I didn't go. Oh, she's in the penitentiary. Something wrong with her. She in the mental hospital. You see? Because they know that's how I move. They know that's how I rumble. If you don't do things a little decent, this sister girl don't go to nothing. I don't go. It don't get to me, and I don't go. So I was explaining it to my son, and he said, yeah. He said, and he understood. He understood because he told me some things that made a lot of sense. And I explained to him. At the gender reveal, her mother told my daughter to add, everybody bring Pampers and wipes to the gender reveal. My daughter wasn't doing the gender reveal. I was. So, wait a minute. The gender reveal, she called you and told you, because I asked my daughter to do the invitation. She called you and told you to add on to the invitation, bring Pampers and wipes. Is that a new thing? Have you ever heard of that? Did you know that's a new thing? Sister Deborah had no idea. I didn't know that. I didn't like it either. Say that for the baby shower. Now, I was supposed to do the baby shower, but her mother asked if she could please do it. This is her first grandbaby. I said, no problem. It's yours. So I said, I'll just do the gender reveal. Messed it up. Sure did. Got in there and did things should have done. First, you don't go calling, having my daughter to put it on the invitation. My daughter shouldn't have put it on the invitation without crossing me. I'm the one giving the gender reveal. You get what I'm saying? I don't play that. So she puts it on there and found out. And my oldest sisters called and said, they want us to bring Pampers and wipes. She said, yeah. She said, oh, I said, my sister said, they do that too sometimes. That's one of my oldest sisters. I said, oh, yeah, see, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I've been to gender reveals. I ain't never seen that. But my older sister told me, yeah, they do that. But wait a minute. If I'm giving the gender reveal, why are you telling my daughter what to put on the invitation that I'm overseer over the gender reveal? She should call me and say it's okay that we put that on there. They do that now. I wouldn't have had no problem. I just don't like people trying to bypass how to do things right, and then just want to do it just the way the world wants. It is the world, but just want to do it to cross other people out. Y'all, let me show y'all a picture of it. Let me tell you, it turned out okay, but guess what? I was so disappointed because the spirits, the attitudes, and like I explained to my son, that's what I discerned. See, y'all would think Sister Deborah is crazy, because just like it says, the Father says that in the man's eyes, I ain't gonna say the Father said, it is said that in a man's eyes is clean in his own eyes. That means in their flesh, they just so into it. It's the way they see it, and it's in their own eyes, it's clean. That means the flesh. But he said he measures the spirits. While we sitting here taking it and making things right in the flesh, he's checking that mess in the spirit. He's judging every level of it in the spirit. See, people, y'all think, like my ex-husband was telling me the other day, people think they really getting away with everything. They ain't getting away with, and people really don't. They have these men that had all these babies and was a Rolling Stone, children in this state, that state, overseas, Russia, China, Japan. Father still gonna check them. I gave the seeds to you. Where are they? What you do with it? He ain't gonna say it like that. He gonna already know where they belong. Because they thinking that they can now be a pastor and left 15 kids in other states. They think that they can just, I'm born again now, so I don't have to worry about it. I don't even, no. That's still wicked heart in you. You're supposed to make things that was wrong right. It's no need in repenting if you ain't gonna make things wrong that you've done in your life by leaving these seeds all over the place. Make it right. The best of your ability, pray to the Father to help you. But they didn't do right. They didn't do right bad, y'all. When the thing for us to do to the gender reveal, and y'all, let me tell y'all what was so. Let me tell y'all how the Father know I ain't got no sense, but He knows that the person that I am, I'm a person that. It's really easy. I don't care how powerful I might sound like I am, but I'm a person that try to do the best that I can with people or to people. He knows that. Did you know they did a slight error in the gender reveal, and the people refund the money back to me? I walked out of that place. I felt so good then, because guess what? I was feeling really bad. They messed up the gender reveal, but the way that the Father made sure it turned out is that here, you get your refund. It wasn't a lot, but still, it made me feel a little bit better, y'all. You see how if something was messed up and then out of nowhere they come up and say, okay, here, he shocked me. But I knew that was the Father saying, Deborah, it's okay. It's okay. You're dealing with the world. You are dealing with the world. That's that. Get in that lane. Get in the lane. Okay? Because sometimes, no matter what, you out here and you trying to battle the world and don't understand. Get in your lane. This world didn't change for the Most High Yah, the Creator Himself. Don't think they're gonna change. They're gonna change because of something you saying or you doing for them. They ain't gonna do it. Ain't gonna work. Let me show you a picture. And yes, he's having a boy. Here it is. Can you see them? You see him? He's having a boy. They having a boy, and his mother was very negative, y'all, very. So I was telling my son about it, and he said he didn't know that. I said, no, it's a lot of things you didn't know, and you ain't gonna know. I told him because he's a quiet, and you want him quiet. He's that type of quiet that you want him quiet, like real quiet, because he that's why I call him quiet storm. Let him stay quiet storm, because anything else come out of there, you don't know what you're gonna get. And I'm mama. I'm gonna tell you, you don't know what you're gonna get. So make sure you just keep him quiet, storm. So she messed it up. She did. She messed it up, and I hate that she brought those type of spirits to the place. They took the gifts. Who told them to take him? You don't come to somebody's uh, that's hosting something and take the gifts. When we went back to the table after they showed on the wheel there was a boy, we went back to the table. They had took the gifts. Her mother. Now, I didn't know you could do it. Y'all don't think that's disrespectful? I'm the host. You would think you would say when okay, I'm gonna go in and take their gifts. They say it's okay for me to take their gifts, and we're gonna take them and put them in the car for them. Oh, no problem. But just we come back, the gifts gone. Y'all know that ain't right. You don't do stuff like that. They didn't. We had the little tables. They didn't sit down at the table. They went way up against the wall, and her whole little family, all of them. And I had the tables just was empty, y'all. Mhm. It was a mess. And I'm like sitting here saying, and then when it was over, that man said, "Here, we're gonna refund your money." And I was like, "See that? This is how the Most High rule. See, He knows. He knows. Okay, I let you see it. Now you see. Stop dealing with the world. See, that's another thing. We think we can just get in here and mingle with the world and try to be friends or not. Not no close friends or nothing, but trying to. You can't do it. You won't win. It ain't no winning in it, y'all. You can do whatever you want. It's no winning in it, and it's just who people are. But I was telling him that my sister he was wondering why my sister was texting him because they the same way. Hey, you don't send them to their invitation or the protocol is not done right. They ain't gonna deal with it, and that's why I told him you need to get in touch with her and let her know that she didn't send all them their invitation. She sent one sister her invitation. And she's in Texas, and she called the ones here in Missouri and told all of them, and they said, well, we ain't received ours. And I'm like, that's 30 more other people, 40, 30, almost 40 more other people. Wait a minute, hold on. Why? I don't know. So hopefully I get that straightened out, but that's going back to what I was saying. I don't, honey, I don't play. I do not play with this world because the world will have you feeling you the bad when you the wrong one because you ain't playing with them and the way they play. I sit back and I told y'all with my siblings, I asked my kids, have y'all ever, this is why I asked my kids. Now, my oldest son, 45, right? I said, now, when have y'all seen me and my sister and them arguing and fussing? Now one of them can say a word. That's how, you see what I'm saying? Now one of my 6 children could say, well, we ain't never saw it. That's you right. Because we don't do that. Furthermore, if I'm in the midst, they definitely ain't going to do it. They do know that. They do know that. I'm a non-tolerant type of person. I'm just that. And I don't think it's because it's a non-tolerant in the flesh. I think it's a non-tolerant in the spirit, to where it's just no fear there. It's just no fear of the way what somebody think and what somebody say. It's not there, y'all. It's not there. It's just not there. And I believe, like he said, greater is he that is in thee than he that is in the world. Now, let me close this out by saying this. The Father was sharing with me about travail. I was disappointed with the fact that so much was travail, and let me get it. Travail. I said, wait a minute, hold up, Father, y'all. This is kind of deep. Yes, it is deep. And I'm going to tell y'all something. He said the earth is in travail. The whole earth is in travail right now. Did y'all know that? Like a woman in travail. So this is the problem I had. I end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 verses explaining like a woman in travail when they were having children, okay, in the Old Testament, okay? But what got me more than anything was all these verses in this study guide they call Bible. All these verses is matching like a woman in travail. And I was saying to the Father, how could there possibly be that many verses stating everything Israel and Judah and them went through, everything the earth shall go through is like a woman in travail? How dare the whole world be in travail like a woman? And the woman has no power on the earth. But she goes through the worstest pain of travail than any entity on the face of the earth. See, y'all didn't know that, did you? That's why I was saying earlier, you didn't get it, you ain't gonna get it. Because you missed it. In Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. That is not Yah. Because if you look at, you pull it up and you see, let's say 70, maybe more, it's more than that, verses telling you like a woman in travail. Who's always like a woman in travail? Why did everything Israel go through, it's like a woman in travail? Why is it when the world go through something, it's like a woman in travail? Wait a minute, but the woman but the woman don't rule none of the earth? What kind of rats behind is that? That shows you that she was always important. She was given the authority to rule the world. Man stole it from her. Because it's impossible that everything in the world that goes through suffering, turmoil, let me tell you, turmoil, stress, hardship, worrisome, trouble, tiresome. It's like a woman, pain in travail. Now, this is what I said to the Father. How is it that a woman has the natural travail and the whole world from the beginning into even Revelation speaks of a woman in travail, but she went through the real travailing, but the whole world went through something like it to a woman in travail? And you mean to tell me a woman ain't nothing on the earth? Y'all lost your mind. You would have to be, you'd be sicker than sick. That right there lets you know they stole her identity. They took it. And they rewrote that book. It doesn't make sense, people. And because y'all too ignorant to do your own deep study with the Ruach, and he'll lay it out on the line. He'll open your eyes so you can see. He'll show so much brightness in it. Because I'm like saying, well, wait a minute, I got a problem. I was all in it because he was revealing stuff to me and I was all in. How is it that all these verses is talking about a woman in travail? Like a woman, what is it? All the women, when they was having the children, they was having it. A woman was in travail and she brought forth a child in travail. What you talking to a woman that had many children? So in my mind, I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Father, I read too many verses today. I read up to for 5 hours verses showing like a woman in travail. How could all this in this world be like a woman that's in travail and they have not suffered what a woman in travail has suffered in real pain and travail? So how could the earth be in travail like unto a woman? Come on. For a woman not to be nothing on this earth. That's where they put her. They put her right under their feet and ruled over her. How could that be? He said, go right back to Genesis 1, where they stole her Yah-given position as ruling on this earth. How righteous would a father be to allow the woman to have the number one travailing on the face of the earth and be up under the man's feet? Y'all make it make sense. What do it look like, y'all taking his sperms, letting her carry it, letting her birth it, letting her breastfeed it for him to rule the world? It don't make sense. But it makes sense to the wicked, because they did an excellent job deceiving the whole world with Satan. Because it don't make sense, y'all. You ever take out time and you start looking up travail and you see how many times it's in there? And then he's telling you like a woman in travail, like a woman in travail, and a woman in travail. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Every time these men got in trouble, why is it like a woman in travail? They ain't been through no travailing like a woman. How can that be? Oh, it can be, Deborah. But her travailing was natural. She brought forth the living in her travailing. They would never know men would never know what that's like. So how is it that she's under their feet and she's travailing to bring all his seeds forth? It doesn't make any sense. Just so she can go right back under his feet when she done. It don't make sense, y'all. Never did, never will, and never can. But like he said, the truth is in you. And he ain't here to try to get you to know it, to understand it, to have knowledge of it, wisdom of it. He ain't here to give you that, because he already got his in the palm of his hand. The truth be told, it's a sad thing. It really is. The truth be told, it's a sad thing. That's why the saying has been said, the truth shall set you free. And I mean free indeed. And this is why people are not free. Shalom and shalom.